Montana, and I got there and realized that I needed a job. So I had never done this before, but I went to the unemployment office. And I saw a lot of people there that I wasn't sure I wanted to be like, and I was getting ready to leave. And I checked out the bulletin board, and there was all these weird postings, and there was one that said, "Do you like teenage girls?" And then it said, "Come adventure with us in the beautiful Montana backcountry." And I was like, either whoever put this up is totally awesome or a total pervert. And I'm gonna call them. So I called, and it ended up being this amazing woman who was starting this company with teenage girls, taking them on backcountry adventures. So I started working for this company called Alpengirl, and we took girls all over the world, and I did it for about 5 years. And we did all sorts of fun outdoor sports. And so it was like my 4th year with Alpengirl, and I loved it. I loved the kids. It was the funnest job ever. And it was this Alaska trip that we were on. And we went up to Alaska, and it was a little bit weird because I went up early, and my family came up with me, and we went on this backpacking trip up in Denali State Park before. And it was that weird trip that some families do, right, when the parents are about to get divorced. And we're like, I don't know. I mean, I've never been married or divorced, so maybe it makes a lot of sense when you're in those shoes to just like announce to the kids you're getting a divorce and then go on a family vacation. But it was that trip. So we had that trip for about a week before I picked up the girls to take them on their trip. And so coming into the trip with the girls, I was already a little bit tired. So I was working with a new guide, and she was this girl from, what's it called? Where's Sarah Palin from? She was from Wasilla, and she actually reminded me a lot of Sarah Palin. And we didn't initially really like gel, but it was gonna work out. So we picked up the girls, and and I was super tired, and we headed out on this trip. And the girls, like, I love kids, and obviously, because I did this for so long, I love teenage girls. Like, I was what the ad said. I met the criteria. But these little girls were kind of bitches. Like, it was just a bad vibe, this group. Like, they were really nasty to each other. And I came in, like, ready to have fun. Like, you were gonna have fun, damn it. Like, I had this cassette tape that was Learn to Disco Dance, and I would, like, pull over the van and put in the cassette tape and be like, roadside dance party, everybody out. And, like, we'd do the disco dance, and, like, none of the girls would do it, and they'd be like, this is stupid, this sucks. And I'd be like, you're gonna dance! And, like, and so my attitude started to go down, and it started to, like, manifest in all these shitty ways. Like, I was really disgusted by, like, the way they smelled and the way they left their stuff everywhere. And the games I would play were, like, really aggressive, like dinner games called Eat It, which would just mean, like, I would just yell Eat It at them and point at 2 girls, and that would mean they had to race to eat their food. And whoever won didn't have to do dishes. And we did, like, tarp wrestling, which is like putting up a tarp so it stands up, and then we'd all take turns, like, one at a time, just pummeling this tarp as hard as we could into the ground until we were exhausted. It got weird. And I realized that I needed to chill out, that, like, I was losing it, and I needed to lighten up. Like, I was way too serious. And I was laying in my tent one night, and it was the night after I found out that the Sarah Palin co-instructor had been, like, eating all this candy in her tent and giving it to the girls, which we only ate health food, and I was, like, the bear safety Nazi on the trip, and, like, she was backdooring me on that, and I was upset about that. And I was laying in my tent, and I was, like, praying to whoever I prayed to and being like, okay, I need to lighten up. Like, this has gotten seriously not fun. And I let that out into the universe. And the next day, we went whitewater rafting on the Matanuska River up in Alaska, and it was light all the time. So it was like midnight, and the sun was out. And we got off the river, and everybody was super wet, and everybody stripped down. And so just to set the scene, it's like low bushes by the river, and all the bushes have, like, little girl, this one's for B. Frank, panties sprinkled across the landscape, like wet underwear and bikinis and moist teenage girl clothing scattered around the landscape. And we're putting together this obstacle course because it's midnight, we're all wide awake because we just went whitewater rafting, and amongst our, like, panty sprinkling. And So we're out on this sandbar, and we're camped below sort of this highways up high above us, like maybe 200 feet above us. And I was still uptight all this day, and I knew I needed to lighten up. And we're playing this game, and all of a sudden, this guy on a motorcycle flies off the highway. And he flies off the highway, and he falls into our camp with his motorcycle. And I'm out on the sandbar just being like, beat her, kick her ass, come on, kill, because I have a bad attitude. And I look over, and he's just disappeared, and it's very quiet. And I had all this medical training, because at one point I thought I wanted to be a doctor and all that stuff. But so I go over, and I'm like, all right, I guess this is my job now. And I go over, and he's got 2 broken femurs, which is really bad. And I know, you guys, that was good. He's got 2 broken femurs, which is really bad. I know. And in Alaska, the nice thing is that they don't really use ambulances, they just use helicopters, and somehow it's like how everyone in the lower 48 imagines it is when you like call for help, that helicopters just fly down from the sky and help you. But like it actually works like that in Alaska. If you get hurt, like helicopters just drop in. And so within like 10 minutes, this helicopter shows up, and this helicopter is trying to land, and we've built this crazy obstacle course, and there is the moist panty garden. And the helicopter's trying to land, and if you've ever been around a helicopter, you know it's really, really windy when helicopters show up. And so I'm like running between trying to like manage the girls, because Sarah Palin lady isn't very helpful at this point. And I'm trying to manage the girls, and then like broken femur guy in the bushes. And like we've got his bike turned off, and like I couldn't really do much with his legs while the helicopter showed up so soon. But I'm standing there at one point, and I am completely still, and this helicopter is like trying to land on this sandbar, and there are panties like slapping me across the face, and wet, stinky teenage girl swimsuits slapping me and flying through the air in front of me. And I think that was the universe answering my prayers to just lighten up. Nothing like a pair of teen girl panties in the face to lighten up. Thanks.